Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. I'm going to start the video by working on my Bougainvillea bonsai. I last worked on this tree on December 11th, so that's, roughly 2 months ago. And I defoliated it, pruned it up, and now it's grown back in. In the last video, it was naturally defoliating, losing its outdoor leaves and flowers, and now the indoor leaves have grown in. Here's a look at the size of the indoor leaves. They're quite large compared to the ones that grow outdoors in the full sun. In the last video, the tree looked fantastic. It had small leaves and had flowers on it, and that's our goal, is to maintain the beauty throughout the years. So let's go back in time now, and we'll just take a quick look at the tree's history and see how it's progressed. A small little tree, and I've been growing it for probably 17 years now. It started out as a little stick, is the best way to describe it. A small cutting from a nursery. It's a Pink Pixie variety, which is what they call it for the pink flowers. When we repot today, we're going to raise the tree up a bit more. It's sitting a little low in the pot right now to expose our surface roots more. We're going to reduce the height of the tree. If we take it around back here, we're going to reduce the height down to somewhere about here. Eventually, I can see this tree as a rounded silhouette on the top, which will really show the flowers off when they bloom. Okay, so I've got the roots washed now, and we'll look at the bottom of the roots first. And the first thing you'll notice is that there's some roots growing down from the bottom, and we want to get rid of those. So we'll cut those off. Nice and flush. So the next thing, we're going to plant the tree. Okay, so we're ready for our repotting. I'm just going to keep misting the roots. So you can see we're starting to get nice, realistic surface roots on the tree. And that's a result of pruning over the years, good root pruning, getting our radial roots sorted out, keeping our root ball flat so all your surface roots are feeding the trunk of the tree, so it gets larger down here at the base of the tree. Today we're going to be repotting my Bougainvillea bonsai into a new pot, and I really like this pot. I've had it for a long time. The glaze is naturally getting that cracked look on it, which is kind of nice, an indication of old age in a pot. Wow. Some long roots there. So you can see lots of roots. That's 1 year's growth. The tree was obviously very happy in this soil. There's even some really thick roots that have grown around. There's a root here that's doing something funny. It's taking a strange direction. Let's fix that. So we'll keep our radial part of it and trim off the part that goes in an odd direction. Okay, that looks good. Let's add our soil. So I'm just washing the whole tree here, and that should be good. You see that mat of roots growing around the bottom, the thick roots in the intermediate section, and then the radial roots up top, which we want. Here's a close-up of the root base. You can see the fine roots that run around the bottom of the pot, the thick roots that supply these, and up top are our radial roots, our display roots that we want to see. The work's done on the tree for today. I'll give it a spin around so you can see it from all angles. I'll start by rotating the tree around so you can see what it looks like from all angles. So here's the front, and around to the right side, and the back. So that's the tree pruned up for today. You can see the top of it here. Hopefully it looks like a deciduous tree to you. It's kind of the view from down below, looking up. Today we are going to be working on my Pink Pixie Bougainvillea bonsai. I've recently moved the Pink Pixie Bougainvillea from the outdoor greenhouse inside the plant room here, And usually every year when that happens, all the leaves fall off. And not all of them come off, but most of them do eventually. And then they're replaced by I guess a set of indoor leaves. So here's the tree now, and I know I took a beautiful looking tree and reduced it down to a skeleton, but you have to do that in bonsai. You have to keep your trees in check, and someday it'll look even more beautiful than it did when the video started, when all these branches grow in and the proportions are better and has more taper, and yeah, you just keep working away at it, and eventually you end up with a really nice tree. So I'll spin it around so you can see it from all angles. And we're back to present day now. So today I'm going to be working on the tree, and the reason I'm working on it is that the leaves are really large and some of the shoots are very vigorous at the top, and it's shading out a lot of the lower branches. I was working on the plant room right till winter this year, so the tree was outside in the greenhouse where it was quite cool. I had a heater in the greenhouse, but it still saw a really good long, cool period of low temperatures. And I think it was really good for the tree. I've noticed that the leaves coming in now are really dark green. The tree has looked the most healthy it's ever been in its whole life. So I think that period of dormancy was really, really good for it. A general rule in bonsai is you allow the shoots to grow till they have about 8 sets of leaves on them, which is quite long. Most people prune their trees too soon. They'll prune it when, it has 4 sets of leaves on it. And that's too soon. You have to get a lot of vigor into the tree, and then you prune it back so it has energy stored for recovery. The work I'll be doing today on the tree isn't a general pruning to get it back down to size. I haven't let it grow, and then I'm going to prune it back. It's more to balance the vigor on the tree. The new shoots up top are really vigorous, and the shoots down lower are less vigorous. So I'm going to balance the tree, pinching the new shoots back and allowing the bottom ones to grow. So it balances the vigor, so the whole tree is kind of going to grow out evenly then. And once it does grow out, then I'll give it the mass pruning where everything gets pruned back and the tree's back to size. I'll also be looking at all the new shoots that have come in on the tree, and any shoots that are growing the wrong direction or growing in the wrong place in the tree, I'll prune them off. I'm looking down at the top of the tree, and you can see how the shoots on the top of the tree are really vigorous. The leaves are really large, and if I were to let that grow, the shoots on the top would take over and all the bottom branches would die off. So that's a reason to balance the vigor of the tree so the growth is more even. Some of the weaker shoots on the tree are just growing in. If I rotate it around to the back here, you can see there's shoots that are just starting to grow. So I've got to push everything back to kind of equalize the balance, give these new shoots a bit of light. They're getting shaded out from the top. So here I go. I'm going to start, this is the longest shoot on the tree. So I'm going to prune it quite far back. So there's just a few leaves on it. So I'm going to go right back to here, which will leave about 4 little tiny leaves on the branch. So here I go, just like that. So you can see all the vigor on it. Large leaves. And that opens up a lot of light to get in now to some of these lower branches. I'll continue to prune off some of these branches higher up that are getting long. So there's one off to the side here. And I'm using directional pruning on this when I prune it. So I'll take the tip off that, like that. So I'm just looking for shoots that have elongated, not ones that are just starting out. There's one in here on this branch. I can prune that back to here, taking that tip off. There's another one here on this branch. Prune it back to here, taking that tip off. Another one here. Take that tip off. Another one here. That. There's one at the back here. So not every branch is elongated. It's only, a select few. I'm just looking for more long shoots on it. Oh, here's one right here. Prune that back to there, like that. I think that's got most of the really vigorous shoots, the ones that were elongating, you know, way more than all the other shoots. Here's a look at the tree now, and you can see it's better, but it's still not there. Let's look at the top view once again, and you can see it's much better, but it's still not there. There's still a lot of large leaves up top that are blocking the lower branches. So my next step, I'm going to remove any leaves that are facing in towards the center of the tree. This next step I would call thinning of the canopy or partial defoliation. I'll probably end up removing about a third of the leaves, just removing the ones that are facing in towards the center of the tree. Here's an example of a leaf that faces in towards the center of the tree. So I'll just prune it off like that. There's another one here. That comes off. And this one also. So anything kind of facing inwards gets removed. This can be a useful technique if you're displaying your tree in a bonsai show. Getting rid of all those leaves facing inwards, it tidies the tree up. It thins the canopy, and so you can see the branch structure a little more. And it makes the tree look really nice because everything's flowing outwards. This technique can also be useful to take a little bit of vigor out of your tree. In spring, when the leaves are coming in, they tend to be really vigorous. So anything you can do to take a bit of vigor out of the tree and slow it down is helpful to keep your internodes short and keep it nice and compact, your tree, so it doesn't grow wild and long and leggy. I finished removing all the leaves that are facing in towards the center of the tree, so everything's fanning outwards. And I think it looks much nicer. You can see the branch structure now. It's a little more open, and yet all the branches still have leaves on them, and it's looking quite nice. Let's look in the top view now. Here's a view looking down at the top of the tree now, and you can see by removing all those inward facing leaves, more of the branches are exposed, and you can see those lower branches much better, so they're getting light now, which is good. The next step for this tree is branch selection. So after I pruned it back, there's been a lot of new shoots grow in. So now I want to select which ones I want to keep and which ones I want to prune off. It's hard to see, but on this branch tip here, I pruned it off, and then I have a new shoot growing down, and I have another one coming up. So I want to keep my one growing down and prune off the shoot that's growing upwards. I've rotated the branch around so you can see it a little better. And here's that shoot that's growing up on the top. And there's also one growing down on the bottom more horizontally. So I want to prune this one off. So I'll come in here. I'll just remove this one leaf here. There, now I can get to it. And off it comes, like that. This will keep this branch growing more in more of a horizontal plane. There's another one down here that's growing straight up that I think I want to prune that one off too. So here's that one. It's got two nice branches growing more, spreading out, and then there's one going straight up. So I'll take that one off, like that. Okay, so that branch is looking quite nice. There's another one here that's growing straight up. I'll take that off too, just a little shoot that started. And there's one on the inside. I can remove that one. I don't want a branch there. And I probably don't want this little shoot on the inside here, so I'll remove that also. You don't want to clog up the space between these two branches. Yeah, so that branch is looking quite nice now. It's all pruned up. I'm going to go over the rest of the tree now, looking at one branch at a time and pruning away any new shoots that aren't growing in a good direction or not growing in a good place. I finished removing all the new shoots that are growing in the wrong places, the wrong direction, and again the tree looks much cleaner. My last operation for today is to balance the vigor once again by removing all the largest leaves. The largest leaves on the tree tend to grow in the most vigorous areas of the tree, so I'm going to remove some of the largest leaves to kind of balance the vigor of the tree so each branch has kind of an equal amount of green foliage surface area. Here's an example of a branch. It has a really large leaf over here. The ones over here are smaller, but I'm going to prune off that really large one like that. And I think I'll prune off this one too. Just kind of reducing, maybe even this one under here. There. Kind of reducing the vigor on that branch tip. Here's another branch where I can remove some of the most vigorous leaves. Yeah, so that's got that one balanced up quite nicely too. I'm reducing it back on the top a little more than these lower branches. There's a look at the cutting room floor. I've taken off quite a bit of foliage for such a small tree. I finished my work on the tree for today, picking all the new shoots that I like and are growing in a good direction, removing the ones I didn't want, thinning the tree out so it gets light to all the different branches, and getting it ready to set it up for that growth period where I will let all these shoots grow out to like 6 to 8 pairs of leaves, getting it nice and healthy again, and then it'll get pruned back once again. I'll spin the tree around so you can see it from all sides. So here's the front, coming around to the right-hand view. Going around to the back of the tree. Because I've reduced the amount of leaves on the tree, it won't use as much water. So just keep that in mind when you're watering your tree, that you might have to water it a little less. That's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.